morning to the honorable ministers of the council, members of the media, online viewers, radio listeners via St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9 FM and respective radio stations island-wide. I'm Rolika Roach, and welcome to the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, July 7th, 2021. At this time, I would like to invite the Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport, the Honorable Dr. Anders Rudolph Samuel, to address you. Minister Samuel, you have the floor.
Okay. Good morning to the Prime Minister. Good morning to my colleagues of the Council of Ministers. Good morning to the persons of the media. Good morning to DCOM. And definitely good morning to the people of St. Martin. I would like to give some information in regards to some of the results of the exams at the end of the school year. And why I say some, because not all of the exams are completed, and it means that not all of the results are in. But when we look at the FBE exams of 2020-2021, we can see that in 2021, there were 563 Group 8 students registered and sat the FBE exit exams in May 17 to May 20, 2021. The students are from the following school boards: 89 from the Foundation Methodist Agagek Center, 46 are from the Division Public 146 from the Division Public Education, 36 are from Seventh-day Adventist School. The largest group of students are from the Stichting Katholiek Onderwijs in Martin, which is a Catholic school board, with 197 students. Stichting Protestant Onderwijs, the Foundation Protestant Education, had 86 students, and we had 9 students from the ACE Foundation. The 2020-2021 nationwide average of all subjects combined was 54%. The nationwide average per subject is as follows: general knowledge, 48%, math, 54%, English, 65%, and Dutch, 52%. In the academic year 2019-2020, there was no FBE exit exam due to the COVID-19 pandemic. In comparison with previous years, the overall nationwide average has declined from 58% in 2018-2019 to 54% in 2020-2021. And we can indeed indicate that this can be a result of the issues regarding the pandemic. When we look at Dutch, the nationwide overall results for the subject Dutch in 2020-2021 has increased to 52% in comparison to the previous 3 years, where 50% in 2018-2019, 2017-2018 was 44%, and 2016-2017, it was 52%. It has increased to 52%, and it was 50% in 2018-2019, and 2017-2018, and 2016-2017 were 44%. The nationwide overall results for the subject English in 2020-2021 has declined from 69% to 65%. The results for this subject has an overall decrease for the 3 last years listed. The nationwide overall results for math in 2020-2021 has a decline from 59% to 51%. The results of the overall general knowledge test declined from 58% to 54% in this year's exam. I also have the average per school board. So the Foundation Max School have the overall highest scores nationwide for the following subjects: English 73%, Math 61%, and General Knowledge 58%. The SCOS schools, the Foundation for Catholic Education schools, they have scored the highest for Dutch and the second highest for English. And the Division Public Education schools have the lowest scores overall. I would certainly like to congratulate the Swoboda schools, which is the Milton Peters College, and the Sundial schools, which you could have read in the newspaper, that 84% of the Milton Peters College and Sundial school students passed this in this special COVID year. I have the results for the exams. So the exam results of the schools following the Dutch exam schemes have been received. These schools are the St. Martin Academy, PSVE, Sundial, and Milton Peters College. The results are as follows. 25 students did the PBL, and 24 of those students passed their exam. Of the 8 students that sat the PKL, all 8 passed their exams. Of the 17 of Sundial that did the PBL, all 17 students passed. And of the Sundial, the 39 students that did the PKL, all 39 students passed. When we look at the Milton Peters College, 19 students did the exam of the PBL, and of the 19 students, 16 candidates passed their exams. For Milton Peters College, 31 students did the PKL, and all 31 students passed their exams. For Milton Peters College, 47 students did the TKL, and of the 47 that did the TKL, 41 candidates passed their exams. When we look at the HAVO, 37 students did the exams, and of the 37 students, 21 passed. And when we look at the Vario, of the 16 students that did the Vario, 11 students passed. The overall pass rate of the 2021 exams is 88%. The secondary schools that are following the CXC program are currently still writing their exams, so we do not have that at the moment. During this year, it was a bit different because the budget meetings coincided with many of the graduation ceremonies. That made it very, difficult and challenging for me to be at many of the graduation ceremonies. So I want to congratulate all the students that sat the exams this year and coping with the effects of the pandemic. Most naturally, we must be able to understand the kind of pressure they were under. But I would like to thank the teachers, the school managers, the school boards, and parents for being there for their students and their children. I know not every student made it, but for those who did not, I would like to say, please do not give up. To the public of St. Martin, I would like to say thank you for understanding the circumstances under which the schools had to work, from online to face. And sometimes when a decision is made, so I remember when we went online, there were comments. When we went phase 1, there were comments. When we went phase 2, there were comments. But in the end, I would like to say thank you to those persons of the Ministry of ECYS when the plan, which is the education continuity plan, was put on the table. And by following the plan, we were able to guide our students to a safe year ending in their education. So I thank everyone for this. Thank you. I am representing for the Ministry of Justice because my colleague is not on the island at the moment. And I would like to just give a reminder for all the organizations and persons who are busy or going to do an event to please bear in mind that the request for permission should be in a timely manner to give sufficient time for decisions to be made in order to give permission or not give permission. I thank you.
Thank you, Minister Samuel, for your opening remarks. At this time, I would like to invite the Minister of Public Health, Social Development, and Labor, the Honorable Omar Otley, to address you. Minister Otley, you have the floor.
Thank you, Relaika. Good morning to the media. Good morning to my esteemed colleagues. Good morning to the viewing and listening public. I would like to start with a moment of silence for Mr. Bell and everyone that we have lost. Thank you. I have been presented with a script as usual, but I'm just going to go over the food voucher program, and if I have to speak from the heart after this. And Prime Minister and Council of Ministers, I hope you permit me, but I think I need to just be me for a second. So I'll start with the food voucher program. The registration has started. We have up to this point, 2,000 households registered. We have involved the help desk in Dutch Quarter and in Cold Bay. So persons that are having problems registering at www.foodprogram.sx, you can call this number, 554-3219. 554-3219. I am extremely happy with the way that the program is going, and the registry process has been smooth. Now, without further ado, I would like to move to the vaccinations. I don't know what more to say. Plain and simple. We are blessed. We have one of the best vaccines. I just don't know what more to say. Everyone has their free mandate, and I can't and I won't force anyone to vaccinate. But we are living with the proof. We are seeing the proof every day. We are seeing families crying. We are seeing persons having COVID and not returning back to their full self. I don't know what more to say to you, St. Martin. I am trying, we are trying, but we're seeing videos with phones and keys stick to your hand. But the reality is when I sit in Parliament during budget debate and I hear the director of the hospital say, for the past month, everyone that has been admitted were non-vaccinated. So your keys and your phone don't add up to the reality that we are facing. I have sat in this position going on 3 months, and anytime the phone rings and I hear about someone passing, it hurts. It hurts. I will try my best. That's all I can do. Many people criticize the drive to 85. They have what not to say. And the vaccination is not about me. It's not about the Council of Ministers. It's about you and your family. The hurt that I see the civil servants going through, the hurt when I had to pick up the phone and call many of my staff last night to hear them cry, to hear them on the verge of giving up. St. Martin, this is real. We have the opportunity. We have free vaccines. This is your last week to get your first shot. I urge you. With that being said, on Friday, there will be a pop-up at the Carnival Village from 12 to 6 p.m. this Friday. For persons within the town area, for the civil servants, you can walk right across, get your vaccination. On Saturday, July 10th, there will be another pop-up at the Melford Hazel Complex in Sucker Garden. We are trying our best. We invite everyone to come out, get vaccinated. If not for you, do it for your loved ones. Let's protect each other. Let's protect St. Martin. I look forward to any other questions.
Thank you, Minister Otley, for your opening remarks. At this time, I would like to invite the Minister of Tourism, Economic Affairs. I stand corrected. We'll go ahead. And at this time, I would like to invite the Prime Minister and Minister of General Affairs, the Honorable Silveira Jacobs, to address you. Prime Minister Jacobs, you have the floor.
Thank you, Rolika. Good morning to you. Good morning to my colleagues. Good morning to the members of the media present, and of course to our support staff from DCOM. Good morning, St. Martin. Indeed, to follow up after that very impassioned plea by our Minister of Health is a difficult, difficult one to follow, but I have been there and I feel your pain. Who knows it, feels it. Indeed, to stand in a position of responsibility at this time is a heavy one. And even though you've been here for 3 months, I do commend all the strides that we have made over this past year, and especially in the last few months. As you know, we had our budget debate last week, which ended last week, and we were able to finalize a budget. I must say, congratulations to the people of St. Martin, as their representative showed a level of maturity that we have not seen in a while, where there was collaboration across the board and the acceptance of amendments and motions that would affect the people of St. Martin. We see collaborative efforts, and I think the people of St. Martin can be proud. It's a historical budget 2021. We are still in the preparation for budget 2022, which we hope to present on time by September of 2021. And as such, we in the Ministry of General Affairs, I will continue, as I mentioned in Parliament, to focus on personnel and organization, better known as P&O, facility services, ICT, legal affairs, disaster management, and kingdom and interior relations. These key areas are a priority within the ministry that require strengthening to be able to move forward, especially as we have talked about some of the necessary reforms. Besides those reforms, these areas form the support for the entire government organization, and as such, it affects every single ministry and every person who comes for service. Other key areas that we hope to improve is to ensure that there's an amicable working environment, as well as addressing the legal positions of the civil servants, engaging in more revenue-generating measures for the year 2022. So, as such, we'll be engaging also in a policy-based budgeting training that is to start next week, also for the Ministry of Finance, and we would be then the last ministries to finalize that training, whereby hopefully then our budget will be able to be presented in such a way that it's easy to see the correlation between our policies and how money is then spent. To update on the 6th tranche of liquidity support, we had a couple of items that had to be completed, and I believe that we are close to finalizing those. We will be evaluating today the status of readiness in order to be able to inform the State Secretary and BZK and also have his team start the process to get access to the funds. It's not like in the past, you inform today and by a couple of days later, Minister signs the agreement and the funds are transferred. So the BZK ministry has to do a little bit of a longer trajectory. So we hope before the end of the week to have the information to them that they can start that process. This morning, as was mentioned by my colleague, as a government, we are mourning the loss of Mr. Joshua Bell, who passed yesterday. He was a long-standing employee, civil servant within the Civil Registry Department from the age of 18 years old. He played a pivotal role in the department. The department falls within the Ministry of General Affairs, but serves the entire population and government. So indeed, we feel that as a government. I've been here at this podium every Wednesday as long as I was on island to speak to the people. Many made fun of the videos that came out and went viral, but at the end of the day, our compliance with the rules and regulations shouldn't rely on our law. It should rely on our self-preservation. We as a country are doing okay if you compare us with the rest of the Caribbean islands. Our numbers are going down. Our numbers are going down and hospitalizations are going down, but every single person that is hospitalized is negatively affected for the rest of their lives. In my interview with Dr. Deutsch, the immunologist from Curacao, when he was here, he was visiting, but we did a virtual interview anyway for my program. He brought it home to me. And it is not only those of us who show the signs of the infection, even those who are asymptomatic, the virus will make its way through your body and you will see the effects down the road. So don't feel because you're young, you're healthy, and you're strong that there is no negative effect for you and or your family. And also, you know, the minister was also talking about the drive to 85. And once we get over 50%, that we could go back to some level of normalcy. But at the end of the day, there was a time he focused on the number of persons not vaccinated. And that leaves that great number still available to be vulnerable to the negative effects. The negative effects being lessened health. So you have to weigh the negative talk about a vaccine as to the realities of the negativity that is associated with this virus. So you not only have serious illness and death as on the top of the risk factor, but even on the lower risk side, you're talking about someone who was walking around healthy now has heart problems, now has liver problems, now has kidney problems. People who survived it without going in hospital now on dialysis. So it is not a virus that affects you, you're sick for 2 weeks and that's it. People of St. Martin, preserve your health, take the necessary precautions, protect yourself and your family. It is not mandatory, and we will continue to do what we can after this, let's call it open period, to ensure that it's available via your GPs and other manners. The minister is working on that. But the earlier you are vaccinated, the better for you, for your family, and for the community at large. Our self-preservation, when you see pivotal people and people you know, hopefully then it hits home. And I really, really hate to say it. I don't want it to take another soul lost for us to really see the necessity to protect ourselves. The family, the colleagues who I met with before coming to press briefing, even though we closed Civil Registry, we held a very good meeting. They are in pretty good spirits. Everyone is leaning on the fact that Joshua was a very faithful person. He is with his faith in a better place. He is with his Father, and gone from the body is to be present in the spirit. And I would like his life to be an example to those, to be good to your fellow man, to spread your light, to let love rule your actions, and your attitude being 90% of your success. I wish much strength to the colleagues who are mourning the loss, the family, friends, and St. Martin, as we have indeed lost someone near and dear and valuable to us. I also held the first consultation on Prime Minister level within the Kingdom on Monday, July 4th. Excuse me. It was a pretty good consultation, I must say. There were no heavy agenda points, mainly updating each other on the status of affairs politically, economically, financially, and on a health side. Most are reopening of the countries within the Kingdom are reopening, getting back to normal. The Dutch economy is picking up well. Aruba and St. Martin are also seeing pretty high numbers where the tourism is concerned, so we're seeing a good pickup on that side. Curacao also, but of course, we are moving a bit faster where that is concerned. Even though the Prime Minister of Curacao is newly sworn in, the discussions continue in how best we can work together and assist each other, and we look forward to these quarterly meetings to stay in contact, even as we continue to also meet with the Kingdom Affairs State Secretary for the more details of the cooperations. We now, as a matter of fact, have, let's say, a higher level to escalate matters to before it gets to a Kingdom Council of Ministers meeting, which I think is a good thing. The St. Martin Development Fund submitted its audited 2020 annual report, and I must say they are exemplary in that. One of the foundations that fall within the Ministry of General Affairs. I really would wish that all would live up to the regulations according to their subsidy. That is what is expected at the end of the term. So by June, that is submitted. They did have it on time by June, but of course we were busy with budget meetings, and so I was able to receive that from the Managing Director, Ms. Brooks, and Program Development Manager, Melanie Schwazi. They continue to carry out they serve many self-governing organizations and NGOs as well, from funds they receive from government. So all of those actions that you see happening within the organizations on St. Martin are heavily funded by the government of St. Martin. So I would like to ensure that people understand when they say we are not doing enough, that indeed a lot goes into the subsidies. And if you pay attention to the budget, the subsidies that are given to the non-governmental associations, organizations, and self-governing organizations via the St. Martin Development Fund and other agencies such as those. I'd like to thank the team for the work they're doing. They are also the entity that was chosen for the SSRP, for the Unemployment Support Program. And I must say, the annual report truly sends a strong message of accountability, something that we are focusing on also in government. I'd like to leave it there for now with just a reminder that we are in the hurricane season, and I ask that we continue to be vigilant, we continue to be prepared and not to be complacent, as we know what hurricanes come with, but also with the special preparations as related to COVID-19. Also follow the official streams of information via government organization and DECOM, and we will endeavor to continue to be prepared and protect our citizens. Be safe, St. Martin. I'm open for any questions from the media.
Thank you, Prime Minister Jacobs, for your opening remarks. At this time, I would like to invite the Minister of Tourism, Economic Affairs, Transport, and Telecommunication, the Honorable Ludmila de Wever, to address you. Minister de Wever, you have the floor.
Thank you, Ms. Roach. Good morning. Sorry for the mix-up. Good morning, Prime Minister, my colleague ministers, members of the press, Ms. Roach, the listening and viewing public. I don't have so much of an update today, but more of an overview of the past year of what, where we are today. And I think I'm going to follow in the footsteps of Prime Minister, that Minister Otley. What you said is exactly how you should be saying every Wednesday and letting people see that passion, because you feel it even more as the impact in our community gets heavier with every person that passes with COVID. So I thank you for sharing that with all of us today, because it was quite moving, actually. My reminder today to the public and to my colleagues and everyone listening and looking in is that Rome wasn't built in a day. While Rome wasn't built in a day, our problems that we face as a government also didn't come to us in a day. But we have forged ahead in support of each other, making decisions to get us back on track. Not just because of COVID, not just fixing the problems of COVID, but cleaning up the problems that we also inherited. Last year, when we opened up the airport, we had around 1,300 passengers arrive around the week of August 31st to July 6th. Today we have over 10,000 passengers arriving. For you, those of you that are number nerds like me, that's over 700% increase. So that's what you have to look at as what we've accomplished in a year of getting people back and making sure that we're safe. Even though we were called crazy on the floor of Parliament, our actions were made with our economy and our people in mind to ensure that we can sustain ourselves as much as possible. We had an insurance implemented, which actually gave us a little bit of pushback from the private sector because it looked as if we were imposing a deterrent for persons coming into the island. Today, that insurance is a reason people come to the island. They feel safe because we have it implemented. They feel safe because we can fly them back to the US to be treated in their own home. We have travelers actually up until 2 days ago tell me this is the reason I come to St. Martin. This is the messages that I get through my family saying this is why we come. June 5th marked a huge celebration for the island, taking advantage of a stoppage to the cruise industry and to the cruise industry in the US by having our home porting here, to which our economic impact was questioned. It was doubted, but we did it. Now I get to the main point of today. Today, we don't have windows here. We have a door that's blocked. Today, the Edge is here. Celebrity Edge is here. It marks the return of the USA-initiated cruise ship back to our shores, a major sign that we are returning to normal economic activity. And I want the emphasis to be seen on normal economic activity, not normal human behavior in the time of COVID. While I've been out ill for several days, I look to my right at the Council of Ministers and tell them thank you for ensuring the relationship that we have built with the cruise sector was maintained while I was out of office. Minister Utley, you are ward name when I'm gone, so I got to tell you thanks to continue that dialogue with the Council of Ministers to ensure that you had the backing of Council of Ministers to sign off on the health protocols that we agreed to allow Celebrity Edge to come back to St. Martin. It was touch and go there for a while, but at the end of the day, I'm glad that the motto of function in disaster, finish in style, which I learned in high school, is coming back to play here with everything that we do as a Council of Ministers together. During the inaugural sailing event at the harbor, Mr. Alexander Gums at the port reminded us that the last cruise call, I believe, was Celebrity Edge, and it's the first one back. And that's where I want us to realize that we're coming full circle with the things that we're accomplishing here today. And even though that boat has about 1,000 passengers, we need to stop focusing on the negative and focusing on the positive, that we have taxis back at work. We have businesses in town looking forward to it. We have restaurants that can reap the benefits from this. And our economy, again, the decisions we made as a Council of Ministers is pushing us back on track. Every decision that I have taken while I have been in office, if given the opportunity for us to redo, I would make the same decision. I would not change a thing because every decision was for our country. That's exactly how we move as a Council of Ministers. It was our goal to get our island back on track and to get our people back at work. So now here we are today, finding another major event that has given us hope, a USA originating cruise ship back to our shores. And even though some of you might complain that the notice to the businesses or the public was late, the reason it was late is because we were still negotiating protocols to ensure that those passengers, as well as our country, was safe. Going forward, it's going to be touch and go, again, because the same way how we did it when we were restarting our opening to countries, restarting our opening with airlines, it is touch and go as we coexist with COVID. Even though this is a sign of us getting back to normal because we have a first commercial U.S. ship originating from the U.S. back to our shores, my message today is do not let your guard down. Do not put us in a position where the hard work that we have done as a government has to be reversed by restricting movement, by restricting business hours, by restricting gatherings, and so on. With every death that we experience, it's one death too much. It becomes a greater impact on our community. I extend my condolences to the Bell family, to his colleagues, to his friends, to his congregation, to everybody on the island. But I want us to realize that our impact of this is greater than normal. It's getting bigger every time. Before I go, I would like to remind businesses that we reopened last weekend to 2 a.m. The country is at 50% vaccination. I don't want to reverse business hours anymore, but that's dependent on all of us following the protocols that we have been repeating since COVID-19 started. So I'm asking businesses to please respect the COVID protocols. I'm asking customers, I'm asking our public to please respect the COVID protocols. And I'm asking residents to get vaccinated and to follow the hygiene measures that we have put in place since we reopened. Thank you very much, and I'm available for questions.
Thank you, Minister DeWeaver, for your opening remarks. If you've just joined us, you are watching the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, July 7, 2021. Thank you for joining us. We now move on to the question and answer session. However, before we begin, I would like to inform that the Minister of Finance, the Honorable Artwell Edion, as well as the Minister of Public Housing, Spatial Planning, Environment and Infrastructure, the Honorable Egbert Duran, are both present, however, will not be making any opening statements, but are both available for any questions the media may have. The floor is open, and Bibi Shah of SMN News, you have the floor.
Thank you, Relaika. Good morning, ministers. Good morning, colleagues. My question, I'm going to direct it to the Minister of Romi and the Prime Minister. Can you give us the status of moving forward with NVGEBE? Last week, the residents of St. Martin from every place was plagued with island-wide blackout, including the airport, at the time of home porting, at the time when we had so many people at the airport. GEBE, number one, island-wide blackout. But yet, Minister, we cannot get anything happening at NVGEBE. Can you at least tell us if there's some kind of, and I'm going to go far with this, is there a political hiccup that is holding up you or the Council of Ministers from moving forward with getting rid of that board and installing the people that you, the Council of Ministers, selected for the management board?
Good morning, Bibi. Good morning, Prime Minister, colleague ministers, and a special good morning to the people of St. Martin. I would also like to join my colleagues by extending condolences to the Bell family. To answer your question, it's a pretty wide, broad question in the sense of trying to tie in the fact that the board being there has an influence on the current going. I do not share those views. I received a report from the board as well as the management and Wärtsilä in regards to the reasoning for the power outages. It has to do with the fact that a new software was installed a couple of weeks ago, and they were having sort of hiccups with it. And based on the report that I received as well, that should have been resolved because the systems had an issue with communication. Nevertheless, there was a shareholder meeting that was held last week, where the 2 of the 3 management were appointed in the meantime, pending the appointment of the 3rd managing director, after the Council of Ministers sit with the relevant stakeholders and go over certain documentations. So that is the most recent update at the moment. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Can you at least tell me, Minister, if the Supervisory Board of Directors will follow through with the instructions given to them, or to appoint the 2 members that you said should be appointed?
Just to touch on the question again, a decision was made by the Council of Ministers during the shareholders meeting, and I think that anyone with integrity would uphold that decision that was made. The board was represented in that meeting as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Duran, and thank you, Bibi, for the question. I would now like to invite Ralph Cantav of Phillipsburg Broadcasting. You have the floor.
Thank you, Ms. Roach, and good morning to everyone in the room. And I would also like to join the government in stating condolences to the Bell family and to the government as an extension as well. During the last press briefing, the Prime Minister mentioned that conditions for the 6th liquidity payment relate to matters of the Justice Ministry, Finance Ministry, and VSA Ministry. So can the respective ministers share details on what are those conditions and if there are any additional conditions as well?
No, he did it.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Ralph, for the question. The conditions actually related to VSA, there were 2 plans of approach that had to be approved. Those were approved in the Council of Ministers. The one for finance also was approved in the Council of Ministers. So those conditions, let's say, have been met. The condition related to justice, the Minister of Justice isn't here, but that one related to something at the prison, whereby the procurement process had to start. We see that that has been posted in the paper since last week. And the actual start of the repairs where it pertains to locks, etc., not too much information will be shared on that, but that process is also moving along. So where it relates to that, those points that had to be done by specific ministries, those are well underway. Another condition was also that the government-owned companies and subsidized entities had to submit the calculations for the 12.5% cut in employees' benefits or employees, in that area, regardless to whether they had actually done it or not. This had to be submitted to the CFT by July 1st, and that was also done. And of course, the red thread has been introduced in the former conditions for the 5th tranche is the improvement of corporate governance at the airport. Nothing specific is stated there as what needs to be done. So we will be taking up the deliberations as we note, as we get the final update from Justice pertaining to what had to be done at the prison. Then we will resume the discussion as to whether the payments can be made. Hopefully that clarifies.
Sorry.
Thank you, Prime Minister Jacobs. Ralph?
Well, just the clarification is like what exactly were those the things that government had to sign off on?
Thank you, Ralph. For the VSR ministry, we had the E3 package, which was combating employment of illegal workers, where a study would go out, and also the E4 package, which is creating a safety net, a second layer for pensioners.
Minister, would you like to mention the stats?
Sure. While I am here, I might as well. I would like to first off let everyone know we are back at the Bel Air Community Center. I am happy and pleased to see the numbers the 2 days back. The days are Monday through Thursday, hence the reason we are doing vaccination pop-ups on the Friday, and we hope to continue this on the Fridays throughout. I would also like to mention to the viewing public, we are at 50% towards our goal of vaccination. So I just wanted to touch on that as I missed it during my briefing.
Thank you, Minister Otley, and thank you, Ralph, for the question. I would now like to invite Lyndon Brown of BCN TV. You have the floor.
Good morning to the people of St. Martin and the ministers that are present here today. Question to Minister Otley. I have failure remorse, and we want to emphasize the Haitian president and his wife being assassinated. I realize nobody said it, but I'm just reminding the people there are a lot of Haitians here on the island, and people are hurting. And also our friend Mr. Joshua Bell that passed away. Now, Minister Christian, what are the obstacles surrounding? You have also mentioned that people are using keys and different apparatus on their arms and their body to signify that there is something more than usual that going on in their body from the injection. What are some of the obstacles and what do you want to say to the people on these matters?
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Indeed, my condolences to the entire Haitian community. It is a very, very sad situation, and I just learned as well, I don't know if it's 100%, but that the wife has passed. So it's a very, very sad situation. It just teaches us as government officials to be grateful for life and, you know, thank God for every opportunity. Back to the vaccinations, the obstacles are, like you say, there are a lot of persons that don't believe in the vaccination, and that's your choice. That's your free mandate. But I don't believe in misinforming the public, misinforming persons, you know. I can only speak facts. I can only speak numbers. Like I say, numbers don't lie. And the vaccination rate in St. Martin is going up. I noticed a drastic difference from at Coal Bay, the movies, to Bel Air. So I think that the public itself is starting to see the benefits of the vaccine, and to see that we have cruise ships in, to see that we have record-breaking numbers. All of this is due to the vaccination process. Because the persons that are coming, 75% or more, Minister Tiaka, correct me, are vaccinated, fully vaccinated. So this allows us to have this economic boost. So the vaccination, to me, I don't know what else to say, but I can encourage and hope that everyone comes out and play their part and receive this vaccination.
Thank you, Minister Otley. Prime Minister Jacobs.
Yes, I did neglect in my opening statements to make mention of the fact that we are in solidarity with the Haitian people who today are mourning the loss of their president, and just recently finding out as well the First Lady of Haiti in an assassination that took place early this morning. This is definitely turbulent times for the island nation, and we pray for peace, we pray for understanding, and that the situation there will go back to some level of calm as they resolve their internal challenges. As a St. Martin, we are indeed blessed, as the minister mentioned, that we can dialogue when we have differences of opinion, and that there is open transparency as to how we are governing, and hopefully that we can maintain that as we move forward in this tenure and with the understanding of the people of St. Martin. Much strength to the people of Haiti.
Thank you, Prime Minister Jacobs. We now move on to the second round of questions. Bibi Hart Shaw, you have the floor.
Thank you, Rulaika. Prime Minister, can you tell us, give us some update on whether or not government-owned companies are sticking with the 12.5% cuts to salaries as demanded by the Dutch? And also tell us about the vacation allowance and the unions. At what stage are we, and when would civil servants get that what is due to them?
Yes, thank you for the question. The government-owned companies, just like government, have to follow the laws. Of course, any company that is experiencing lack of income can take the measures as necessary to be able to survive. And several of the government-owned companies were also requesting salary support. And under that salary support program, you had to prove that you'd lost 50%, at least 20% of your income. So we know with the economic downturn that is a reality. And some had already taken some measures. The demand was not to cut salaries that has been, let's call it, corrected over and over throughout the past year. It is in personnel costs. So definitely what was expected of them at this point is to submit how the calculations would be made. So that is the only requirement at this time, as many could not make that based on not having the legal basis to actually carry it out. However, all have complied in submitting the calculations, and if and when the laws go into effect, then they will then be empowered to do so. As it pertains to our civil service, with the good meetings that we've had with the unions, most recently, the Minister of Finance confirmed in the Council of Ministers meeting yesterday that as of tomorrow, the promised 3% that was withheld last year would be paid out. So those can expect to see that tomorrow.
Thank you, Prime Minister Jacobs. I would now like to invite Ralph Kantav. You have the floor.
Thank you. I have a question for the Minister of Finance. The General Audit Chamber recently published their report of the 2017 financial statements, which basically concluded that it was filled with errors and there are matters of lack of accountability and transparency. So what is the status of the financial statements for the following years? And how are you planning to prevent a repeat of those errors? And I will add that it's not relating to this government.
Thank you for your question, Mr. Contav. As you mentioned, that was not in relation to this government. Yes, it does show that we had and we still have a lot of work to do. In relation to the 2018 to 2020, to get specific areas of where they are, I'll send to you via email. But we are working on those, and the plan is still to have the 2018, 2019 in Parliament this year, hopefully.
Thank you, Minister Edion, and thank you, Ralph, for the question. I would now like to invite Lyndon Brown. You have the floor.
Question to the Prime Minister, and also I tag in the Minister of Finance. Minister of Finance and the Prime Minister, you all went to the Netherlands in regards to the liquidity funds. Now, the Prime Minister mentioned recently that St. Martin did all the requirement from the Dutch, and still there was some hiccup. Is that we clear now? Again and again, the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance went to the Netherlands, and the Prime Minister mentioned also that St. Martin did all the requirements, and still there were some ratification. Let me use that word, ratification. Is the way clear now, so that that problem will not recur again?
Thank you for your question, Mr. Brown. I believe you're referring to the 29 million guilders, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we received that already. So the way is cleared because we actually received the money already. And in regards to the question, the previous question, I believe by Ms. Hodge, in regards to the civil servants, yes, the civil servants will be paid at 3% as of tomorrow. I have to confirm with the Treasury. I know the departments have been working overtime to get this done, but it is expected to be paid out tomorrow. In addition to that, the meeting did go well with the unions. We're supposed to meet back to discuss on how we will calculate the 3%, 12.5% that we agreed to last year. So it's not that we're just paying 3% out. We have to still find a way to get that money back, basically. It was also stated in the meeting that depending on the outcome of the Ombudsman, the court case, that it could go both ways, right? It could be 50-50. If it goes in a negative way for, I guess, us, the civil servants, then we will have to be taking it back out if we don't find another way to calculate it. So it isn't just that we're paying out the 3%. We have agreed to come together and find solutions to calculate the 12.5% of last year, so the 6 months. In addition to that, when it came to the government-owned companies and entities, they have already submitted their calculations to us, the majority. Some already have applied their own cuts way beyond the 12.5% because of their own liquidity situation. And I believe so far we've seen the majority of them already come in.
Thank you, Minister Edion. Members of the media, Council of Ministers, and the viewing and listening public, this does bring us to the end of the question and answer session for today. Members of the media, if you have any further questions, please be sure to send those in writing to the Minister's Cabinet. Honorable Ministers of the Council, members of the media, radio listeners, and online viewers, this brings us to the end of the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, July 7, 2021. For rebroadcast, tune into St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9 FM, the official Facebook page of the Government of St. Martin, the YouTube channel Government of St. Martin, and St. Martin Cable TV channel 115. For video on demand, log on to the Government of St. Martin's YouTube channel. On behalf of the Government of St. Martin and the Department of Communication, I'm Rolika Roach and wishing you a pleasant day further.